Hello everyone. In this quick video I'm going to introduce some mobile mapping applications that are widely used in fire or that I have found useful in fire management. We've already talked about Arc Collector and how that integrates with ArcGIS Pro and how it's used in fire management. But there's a couple of others, in particular Avenza and Gaia, that I'd like to share with you. For the rest of this video I'll be sharing my phone screen so you can follow along as I navigate through these applications. This won't be an exhaustive tutorial on how to use these applications. I'll post some additional resources for you to go and read more and learn more if you're interested. But this will just be a quick overview showing some of the strengths and weaknesses of these different applications. So to begin with, we're going to look at Avenza, which is the application you can see on my screen right now. Avenza is widely used in fire, and over the past couple of years, it's become pretty much a standard application. Avenza uses georeferenced PDFs, which are PDF documents that have a coordinate system embedded in them that allow you the GPS on your phone to be able to show your location on that map, that PDF map, in real time. There's two different licensing versions of Avenza. There's a free version and a pro version. With the free version, you are limited to only 3 custom maps, and some functions within the app are disabled, whereas the pro version gives you unlimited access to any number of custom maps that you wish to import into the application, as well as access to all the functions within the application itself. Some agencies have the pro version, have licenses for the pro version available to their employees. So if you're employed by an agency, you should check and see if that's an option available to you. Also, there's a map store that you can go to and download any number of maps. Some are free, like most of the USGS quad maps, while others cost a few dollars. But the real strength of Avenza is its ability to host custom maps that you create yourself. The way you often see this play out in fire management is that a GIS specialist will create a map for an incident, like this one I just pulled up, and then upload that to the ftp.nifc.gov website. And then the firefighters on the ground will download those from the website onto their mobile devices and have the most current map for the day for the fire available offline that also shows their location in real time, which is a pretty powerful tool. So this map here was created for the East Fork fire in late September in 2020, and it has all of the features you'd expect out of an incident map. It's got a base map that shows topography and trails and lakes and other topographical features, and then has layers and overlays on top of that of the fire perimeter, heat sources from the IR flight, management action points, heliphones, drop points, division breaks, water sources, and other features that you would expect to find on an incident. Within these maps, you can draw and measure lines and polygons, and also calculate acres, which is a very useful function in fire management. You can also put down waypoints with either your location or a location that you select on the map. And then you can share all of these features. That's one of the really strong points of Avenza, is that you can share both base maps, the PDFs themselves, as well as the point, line, and polygon features, and even pictures that you attach to point features to other users. So you can share those by email or AirDrop, which is extremely useful among iPhone users, Apple products, to be able to AirDrop both maps and features that you created to other individuals. So if someone new shows up at the fire, you can give them a map as well as different points, lines, and polygons that you've taken over the course of the day, which helps everyone kind of build a common operating picture of what's going on in the fire. And with the Pro version, you can even export these as shape files, and you can email them to other people. So that's super useful, that you can create points, lines, and polygons, and then email them in a file format that you can pull straight into ArcGIS. The weaknesses of Avenza are that tiled maps can be difficult to work with. So to demonstrate this, we'll go to this folder where I have 2 USGS quads. We'll open up the Kings Peak quad. So if you're working out in the middle of the map, in the middle of this PDF, this isn't an issue quite as much, but if you find yourself working on the edge of a map, it's difficult and frustrating to have to flip back and forth between 2 different maps. So here, for example, this is Kings Peak, the highest peak in Utah. It's accessed hiking along this ridgeline, but you can see the map cuts off the ridgeline right here where my cursor is. We can always keep going to the west and pop up the other map where we see the rest of the ridgeline, as well as the pass that you have to come through to access that ridgeline. But if you are working right in this area where you can see my cursor on this ridgeline, it's frustrating to have to jump back and forth between these 2 different maps. It's not an issue if you've built a custom map that adequately displays the area that you're working. But if you don't have a custom map and you're relying off maps that you download from the app store, from the map store, this can be somewhat frustrating. In addition, there are many interesting overlays that are available in other mapping applications that are just not available in Avenza. So while it is a extremely common application and it's widely used, and the ability to import your own custom maps is a huge strength, there are certainly some downsides to the app as well. The next app that we are going to look at is Gaia GPS, which is less widely used in the wildland fire management world, but is used extensively among backpackers, backcountry skiers, hunters, and other outdoor users, as well as some other segments of the outdoor industry, such as some search and rescue teams. The licensing for Gaia follows a tiered yearly subscription plan, where there are a couple of different membership levels at a couple of different price points, which give access to various levels of features and layers. And Gaia GPS offers some discounts for firefighters and other first responders. The strengths of the Gaia application are some of the amazing layers that are available within the application. And we'll look at some of these that are particularly useful for wildland fire management. One of these that I like to see is the historical wildfire layer. And when we turn that on, you can see polygons from fires that have burned in the past. Now, when you click on the polygon, it'll come up with the name of the fire and the year that it burned. So we can see here the East Fork fire that we were looking at earlier in Avenza. Another layer I really like is the satellite wildfires layer, which shows satellite detections from the VIIRS satellite system. And when we zoom out on this, we can see satellite fire detections, not only in the US, but all around the world, which is pretty amazing. And then finally, another layer I like using during the Western fire season is the current wildfires layer, which pulls in perimeters from INCIWeb for mostly large fires that are ongoing. And it can be really interesting to pull up the current wildfires layer as well as the satellite wildfire layer and see how those match up during the height of Western fire season. In addition to the map layers that are specifically for wildfires, there's numerous other map layers that are useful for a variety of reasons, including topo maps from various sources, satellite imagery from various sources, a number of feature and weather overlays that can show you all kinds of interesting information about the ground or area that you might be working in. Another strength of Gaia is that it is extremely easy to seamlessly download offline areas. And this is in contrast with the tiled base map approach that Avenza takes. But when you wish to download an offline area, it will not only show you where you have downloaded areas in the past or already have areas downloaded to your phone, but it will allow you to draw a box. And any layer that you have turned on within the application will be saved to your phone that exists within that box. So it's a really easy way to know where you're going to be working and then be able to draw a big box around that, so you won't have to deal with working on the edge of a map tile as you have with Avenza. And of course, as a full-featured mapping application, you can record tracks, add waypoints, create routes, create areas or polygons, take pictures and assign them to waypoints, and import GPX files from external sources. You can also share your point, line, and polygon features with other users through email or AirDrop for Apple devices. Another small feature of Gaia, but one that I find very useful, is that you can display elevation data, which is something that Avenza does not have. Another feature that Gaia offers is a desktop web browser version of their app where you can sync data from your phone to your laptop via your Gaia GPS account. So here you can see some points that I put while I was working in the field using my phone, and then I've synced them to my Gaia account where I can see them on my laptop. You can also go the other way around, where you can create waypoints, routes, or areas, or import GPX files, and then sync those from your laptop to your phone. So you can build a map on your laptop and then sync it to your phone so you have it in the field. You also have access to all the same layers and overlays that we talked about with the Gaia GPS app, as far as the historical wildfires and different base layers and such. We'll cover a couple of weaknesses of Gaia. The first one is that it's a little expensive. And then you also can't share base maps. So whereas with Avenza, you can share the base map or the georeference PDF that you're working off of, as well as the point, line, and polygon features that you have created. With Gaia, you can only share those point, line, and polygon features. And then it's on the other user to make sure that they have the appropriate base maps loaded and saved for offline use. Also, there are no custom maps at this time, so you can't bring in georeference PDFs or other custom maps, although it's rumored to be in the works, and it'll be interesting to see when the Gaia team accomplishes that, how custom maps are handled in Gaia. I'm pretty excited about that feature when it is finally rolled out. Another honorable mention in the world of mapping applications is CalTopo. CalTopo started off as a desktop website, and they recently started developing an application as well for a mobile device. It seems like CalTopo and Gaia are in kind of a head-to-head competition right now to see who can build the best mobile mapping application and desktop website. And so I know people who use CalTopo in the same way that I have used Gaia, and also really liked it. This is the free version of CalTopo, and you can still get quite a bit of information and layers just from the free desktop version, such as the fire history, the fire activity, which is that VIR satellite data,
a number of other layers and base maps, such as the 7.5 minute quad maps, the Forest Service maps, satellite imagery, etc. And then one super interesting and useful part of CalTopo is that you can kind of create a map, adding tracks and lines and waypoints and whatever layers are useful to you and base map useful to you, and then go to print. And when you click print to PDF, you have an option to save it as a geospatial PDF, which is that georeference PDF that Avenza would use. So this presents one way to make a map kind of on a budget, where you can use the free desktop version of CalTopo and the free version of Avenza to create geospatial PDFs and then view those on your phone offline, which is an interesting ability that is certainly presents some good options for people who are trying to do some basic mapping on the cheap. And the final honorable mention we have is for Onyx Hunt, which is a mobile mapping application that is definitely targeted towards the hunting community. I have had several coworkers that use this, and they mostly use it for hunting, but have also found ways to use it for fire management. The pricing is a little bit more expensive than, I believe, CalTopo or Gaia. As far as for an all 50 states yearly, it's $100, where CalTopo and Gaia are more like in the $40 range. And I believe a lot of their layers and such are more targeted towards hunting rather than kind of a more general perspective. But one real strong point of Onyx is that their land ownership layers tend to be very accurate and very well done. So that is useful sometimes when you are trying to figure out if a fire is on private land or public land or what jurisdiction it's in. But otherwise, I've generally seen better success with generic mapping applications with either Gaia or CalTopo.
That was an introduction to Avenza and Gaia, as well as a quick look at CalTopo and Onyx Hunt. I encourage you all to look into additional resources on these mapping applications and see if any of them would be of use to you. Thanks for watching.